Every civilization imagined dragons. Not just one nation, not just one religion, not just one part of the world. From Europe to China, from Babylon to Scandinavia, from Egypt to Mesoamerica, human beings separated by oceans, mountains, and thousands of years kept creating the same impossible creature. A giant serpent, a winged monster, a fire-breathing beast, a divine force of storms, or an ancient creature sleeping beneath the sea, guarding treasure and waiting for those brave enough to enter forbidden places. In Europe, dragons were often monsters to be slain. They lived in caves, hoarded gold, burned villages, and became the final test for heroes. In China, dragons meant something very different. They were not symbols of evil, but sacred beings connected to rain, rivers, harvests, prosperity, and imperial power. In Babylon, Tiamat was not merely a dragon, but the embodiment of primordial chaos. In Norse mythology, Jormungandr was the world's serpent, so vast that it encircled the earth. In Egypt, Apophis was the serpent of darkness that tried to devour the sun every night. And in Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, was both a divine teacher and a symbol of cosmic order. The details changed from culture to culture. In some places, dragons were evil. In others, they were holy. Some breathed fire. Some controlled water. Some had wings. Some were giant serpents. But beneath all these differences, the same image remained, the fear of nature given a body. The dragon was the way ancient people looked at the chaos of the world and imagined that something enormous was hiding behind it. This is the great mystery. Why did civilizations that never truly met imagine such similar creatures? Why did human beings across the world create a monster with similar shapes, powers, and meanings? Perhaps the answer lies in one of humanity's oldest fears. Before we feared war, before we feared disease, before we feared gods, we feared chaos. And dragons became the shape of that chaos. To modern people, storms, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, and eclipses are natural events. But to ancient humanity, the world did not feel like a machine. It felt alive. The sky could become angry. The ocean could become hungry. The darkness could be watching. A storm could destroy a village. A flood could erase crops. A bolt of lightning could set a forest on fire. A river could feed a civilization, but it could also drown it in a single night. When human beings do not understand a power, they turn it into a story. When fear becomes too large to explain, they give it a face. That is one of the oldest purposes of mythology. Myth does not simply entertain. It helps people name what they fear. And the dragon is one of the strongest symbols humanity ever created. A dragon does not come from one animal. It is made from many fears combined together. The venom of a snake, the jaws of a crocodile, the claws of an eagle, the strength of a lion, the wings of a bat, the destruction of fire, the roar of storms, the darkness of caves, and the depth of the ocean. No real creature looks exactly like a dragon, but almost every part of a dragon comes from something real. That is why dragons feel both impossible and familiar. They are perfect nightmares built from the most dangerous pieces of the natural world. At the center of the dragon is the serpent. Before dragons had wings, before they breathed fire, before knights hunted them in medieval legends, human beings feared snakes. A snake moves without legs. It hides in grass, stone, and water. It strikes without warning. Its venom can kill in silence. And because it sheds its skin, ancient people also saw it as a symbol of death, rebirth, and mystery. Over time, the serpent in human imagination grew larger. A snake became a giant serpent. A giant serpent became a sea monster. A sea monster became a dragon. A small but terrifying animal was transformed into a cosmic creature. In Babylonian mythology, Tiamat is one of the clearest examples of the dragon as primordial chaos. Before the world existed, there was only darkness and ancient water. From that chaos came Tiamat. When the younger gods rebelled, the storm god Marduk fought her, killed her, and used her body to create heaven and earth. This story is not just about a battle between gods. It says that order is born only after chaos is conquered. For the world to exist, the dragon must be defeated. In Egypt, the sun god Ra crossed the sky each day, bringing light to the world. But every night, he entered the underworld, where Apophis, the great serpent of darkness, waited to swallow the sun. Every sunrise was a victory. Every dawn was proof that order had survived one more night. To the ancient Egyptians, the dragon was not merely a monster. It was the danger of the universe falling back into darkness. In Norse mythology, Jormungandr carried a different meaning. The world serpent lay beneath the ocean, wrapped around the earth and biting its own tail. When Ragnarok, the end of the world, arrives, Jormungandr rises from the sea, poisons the sky, and battles Thor. Thor kills the serpent, but dies from its venom after taking only 9 steps. Here, the dragon is not chaos outside the world. It is chaos already wrapped around the world, waiting for the moment to rise. These stories are different, but they all say the same thing. Order is fragile. Cities can fall. Empires can vanish. Even gods can die. Everything human beings build can be swallowed by chaos. And the dragon is the image of that truth. But dragons do not only represent destruction. In many cultures, they also represent sacred power. In Chinese mythology especially, dragons were not enemies of humanity. They were symbols of rain, rivers, fertility, prosperity, and royal authority. The emperor was associated with the dragon because the dragon represented heavenly power and the connection between earth and sky. If the European dragon was something the hero had to kill, the Eastern dragon was a force humanity had to respect and live in harmony with. This shows that dragons are not simply good or evil. They are power beyond human control. If a civilization feared fire and war, the dragon could become a fire-breathing monster. If a civilization depended on rain and rivers, the dragon could become a water deity. The same symbol reflected different fears and hopes in different cultures. Dragons are also often connected to treasure. In many European legends, dragons sleep on gold, jewels, and priceless objects. But this image is not only about wealth. It is about greed. A dragon guarding treasure represents power that has been hoarded, wealth separated from life, and desire transformed into something monstrous. In the legend of Fafnir, greed consumes a being so completely that he becomes a dragon. His body becomes the shape of his obsession. So sometimes, the dragon is not outside the cave. Sometimes, the dragon is inside the human heart. It is greed, pride, violence, the hunger for control, and the fear of losing what we possess. That is why heroes in mythology so often have to face dragons. On the surface, it is a battle against a monster. But deeper down, it is a confrontation with the unknown. The hero enters the dragon's lair, leaves the familiar world behind, faces death, and if he survives, he never returns as the same person. The dragon is the final test before transformation. The dragon's cave can be understood as the darkness of the mind. The treasure is hidden potential. The fire is pain. The claws are consequences. To grow, a person must enter the place they fear most. To change, they must face their own dragon. This is why dragons still survive in modern culture. We may no longer truly believe that dragons sleep beneath mountains, but we still place them in movies, novels, games, and fantasy worlds. Deep down, we still understand what dragons mean. They are fear. They are power. They are nature. They are chaos. They are greed. They are the challenge that must be faced. They are the part of the world that refuses to be controlled. Today, dragons may no longer appear as winged monsters, but they still exist in other forms. War, climate change, weapons of destruction, technology beyond our control, human ambition, and the fear that everything we build can collapse in a single moment. Perhaps that is why dragons exist in every civilization. Not because all humans once saw the same real animal, but because all humans have faced the same feeling. The world is too vast, too dangerous, and too difficult to control. When we tried to tell a story about that feeling, we created dragons. The dragon is a storm with scales, an ocean with teeth, fire with a will of its own, darkness that knows how to watch, chaos given a body. But the dragon is also a mirror. When human beings look at dragons, we do not only see nature. We see ourselves, our greed, our fear, our hunger for power, and our desire to cross every limit placed before us. That is why dragons never truly disappeared. They still live in mythology, in art, in dreams, in films, and in the deepest questions of the human mind. Every time we ask what is waiting in the darkness, every time we fear losing control, every time we face a challenge that could change our lives forever, the dragon returns. Dragons exist everywhere because chaos exists everywhere. And wherever humanity exists, there is fear, imagination, ambition, and the need to turn the unknown into a story. Perhaps dragons never needed to be real in the ordinary sense. They are real in a deeper way. They are real in the human mind, real in our oldest fears, real in the way we explain the world, and real in the moment each of us is forced to face the most frightening thing within ourselves. Because in the end, the dragon is not only the monster at the edge of the map. It is what waits at the border between who we are and who we might become. It is the test before transformation. It is chaos before order is born. And perhaps, in one form or another, the dragon will always remain there, coiled in the darkness, waiting for the moment humanity forgets that the world was never fully under our control. Thank you for watching this journey into why dragons appear in the myths of almost every civilization. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about ancient gods, forgotten monsters, and the timeless fears that still shape the human world today.